live chat.
Okay, sorry, I was reading.
Oh.
Hi, Tori.
Hi, Zoe.
How are you?
Insane.
Exactly. That's good.
It's been a
long week.
Yeah.
A very long week.
Like, I was thinking about it last night, and it's like, since our last book club, it's like, I feel like 85 years have passed. So much has gone on here.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any pop culture news? Since we always start off with that.
Let's see. I know we were talking about the White Lotus last time. I did not love the ending.
Oh, did you not?
I didn't. It made me sad. The girl I wanted to live died, and it's just like, damn it.
Damn it!
All of this was for nothing.
It's always the good ones.
Mm-hmm. I also just had like a lot of questions about the end. It's just like, what is going on here?
Is it renewed?
What?
For another season?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you'll get answers to your questions.
I mean, they've got like a different cast of characters usually.
Every season?
Yeah. There's like one set that's kind of like been this through line, but it's like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like American Horror Story, where there's like a through line technically, but it's all different every year.
I don't watch that, but sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
what you're saying.
You never watched American Horror Story?
No, I
even
don't
when it
like
was big?
scary shows.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just a girl.
I will admit,
Mhm.
like now watching it back,
Mhm.
it is insane.
Mhm.
Like when American Horror Story first came out, me and my mom would be watching American Horror Story, and we would have like my Aunt Amy on the line, and we would all be watching it in our respective places, and we would like be sitting there like, oh my gosh, screaming.
See, that
and,
doesn't
like,
sound like a fun time
Now
to me.
watching it, it's like why were we being so dramatic?
Mhm.
But it was really good. Like it's an award-winning show, like
Yeah.
justifiably.
Mhm.
But like
I know people love it, but it's like it came out. I feel like so soon after Glee that it's like, and Glee went so crazy there towards the end in the last few seasons. It's just like, I don't know how much I trust Ryan Murphy with another thing I'm gonna watch. Let alone something scary that I probably wouldn't enjoy in the first place. It's like, there's no singing and dancing. What am I here for?
There is though.
There is.
It weirdly comes in places you don't expect it to.
Well,
But
Lady Gaga was on it.
Yeah, Lady Gaga was on it, but I can't remember any like singing per se. But there are characters who get in there and they're like, "Ooh, let me be creepy." Oh no, you belong. My favorite season was oh god, it's Coven, when they're in New Orleans and they're like witches. But I haven't watched because now Kim Kardashian's in there.
Oh god.
And like that's a whole thing, and so like Kim Kardashian's gotten into. I haven't watched it in a while. I think the last season I watched, as it actively came out, was American Horror Story Freak Show, and I haven't watched since then. And that was a really good season because that was the last season that Jessica Lange was on. Well, no, I lied because I did watch the Lady Gaga season because she came after, so I lied. That was Hotel. But yeah.
But like you were saying, it is like there's an anthology, but there's
It's
through
different,
line.
yeah. It weirdly starts connecting like in the later seasons, and you're like, oh. But yeah. Okay. Any other pop culture?
My husband shall return from the military.
Return for more!
From war! He just posted yesterday. T-minus 40 days. He's real excited to be out there. And for those of you,
a ring?
I hope so.
I hope so. He better.
For those unfamiliar with the lore, talking about Kim Namjoon from BTS. But they all went in close to around the same time, so it'll be all of the rest of them coming out. I think maybe except Yoongi, because he was doing civil service, so I think his is going to be a little longer. But he went in earlier, so it might be coming out around the same time. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the math.
Okay. Cool.
I only know Namjoon's because he's posting every time there's a number to update. It's just like, get me out of here.
Please. Please.
It's like that man is not having a great time. I think that's the gist of it, though. I've mostly just been watching Survivor now, Top Chef, old seasons of Taskmaster. Do you watch that? You would enjoy it. It's crazy. I watch it on YouTube.
Have you been seeing the Yellow Jackets Survivor
commercials?
Collabs? And they're so freaking funny. I like every time I see one, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I love it. I'm not gonna lie. I would like that would be. I love how Jeff's behind like a barbed wire thing every time too. So it's like he knows.
Yeah,
he's protecting himself. Everyone wants that Jeff Probst meat.
Yeah. I'm loving this season of Survivor though. Yeah, it's so good.
It's a really, really good season.
I haven't seen this week's episode, so if you have, don't tell me what happened.
No.
But it's like there's so many people I'm rooting for. It's just like.
Yeah, because usually it's like one person you want to win the entire time, and then most of the time they don't even make it to the end, and you're like, yeah, I'm stuck with the crappy people.
But now there's so many good people, and it's just like, what are we gonna do?
Well, I think they like really up their quality of people.
Yeah.
Noticeably. Do you remember that guy who like outed that person? And everyone was like, and he was like, why didn't you tell everyone? And like I cannot remember his name. But like on live television, and he's just like.
Yeah, I think that might have been like the last season I watched.
Yeah, same, because it was like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
But I think they really upped like the quality of person they had.
Yeah.
Because now there's like all of these amazing people, and they all seem like genuinely like good and not shitty.
Yeah. Like I'm really rooting for Joe. I'm really rooting for Eva.
I love Eva.
I love Eva.
She's great.
There's a lot of people. Well, Zoe, what's new in the world of Brittany Broski?
She got her gallbladder removed. She was
She okay?
No, she almost died.
Oh my god!
She almost died. She was in Italy on her family vacation. It was the last day of their trip. And she was like, oh, food poisoning. Oh no. But then she was like, oh, this is not food poisoning. I cannot sit up. And like they said, because like she was debating on like flying home and everything. And they said if she would have flown home, her gallbladder would have exploded midair. It was like necrotic. And
Jesus
like
Christ.
Horrible. So yeah, it like was actively trying to kill her. So she had that, and then because of having her gallbladder removed, they accidentally left a gallstone on accident because it was in the bile duct. And that like did some funky stuff, so she got pancreatitis.
Oh my god.
So yeah, she's been through it.
Girl's going
She's
through hell over there.
But yeah.
Well, I hope you're okay, Brittany Broski. Hope you're doing better.
Yep. She seems okay. She released a new episode today talking about Sinners. I still haven't watched that movie, but I really want to.
Haven't. I'm trying to decide if I want to, because everyone keeps talking about how good it is, but it's like supposed to be scary, and I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. As with American Horror Story, it's like, I'm not quite a scary movie girl.
Yeah, well, Robbie was like, he's like, have you seen the Michael B. Jordan edits from Sinners?
See, that's what's trying to sway me.
He's
I'm just like,
baby,
I do love him.
Have you seen how hot he looks? My straight white man husband who's like, have you seen how hot he looks?
He can come join your commune.
He can come join a commune. That would be Robbie's buddy, is Michael B. Jordan in his Sinners character. Because he was like, babe, for real. Because he was listening. He's like, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. He was tantalizing in that movie. He does look really good. He's so funny. He's ridiculous, but he's funny.
You, Bill, Robbie, Belle's, what is it? Fiance? Girlfriend?
She's not proposed to her yet, but like, her fiance, her girlfriend.
And then Michael B. Jordan.
And Michael B. Jordan. I think that's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
That's acceptable.
I'd have a great time coming to visit the commune. Be like, hey.
Michael, have you met Jordan? Meet our resident actor. Sorry, Michael Scott came out. It's fun. That was so bad. That was so bad. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay.
Alright.
We're talking about men who hate women. After.
Okay, do your notes have the questions
They
there?
don't,
Or do I
they
need-
don't have
okay.
the questions.
Did you go from the...
Yeah, I went from the thing.
Okay. Well, this month we've been reading Men Who Hate Women by...
Laura Bates.
Laura Bates.
Not Kathy. Though I think Kathy would enjoy this book. She does smash kneecaps.
Okay, I think I had it on the questions.
You do.
All right, this book very handily came with a reader's guide, so we're
we
just
didn't
going to
have
go
do the
from that.
questions.
All right, question number 1. In the introduction, Laura Bates declares, "You already live in that misogynistic world, but perhaps you didn't know it, because we don't like to talk about it. How much of the material in the book were you familiar with before reading? What was the most surprising thing you learned?"
Okay. I will...
You've got your notes, so
I'll
I'll let you
clarify.
go and then I'll add to.
I'm going to go off my notes heavily because we kind of have to tread carefully because of us being a nonprofit.
Yes.
And I don't want to... like.
We're not allowed to talk politics.
Yeah, I will make additional comments, but
Yeah.
but at first, so I'm not like ramble.
I mean, we talk politics a lot,
Yeah.
but not like we can't like endorse a party or like try to sway an election or anything like that. So
So
we've got to walk a very thin line here.
So if you see me looking down and reading, that's why. Okay, so Laura Bates' introduction sets a powerful tone, emphasizing how deeply ingrained misogyny is in society, often in ways that people don't realize until they actively seek it out. I was familiar with the existence of online misogynistic communities, like incels, mostly because I play video games and when you are a girl on video games, they get so angry, especially when it's a game like I love playing Call of Duty, and I love playing Fortnite, and I love to have my headset on when I'm like playing with friends, and oh my god, they figure out you're a female and they're like, "Go make me a sandwich!" and it's, why do you think that's okay? No, it's not.
Because they're misogynist.
Exactly. But anyway, to my notes. But the book reveals just how interconnected and influential they are. One of the most surprising aspects is how these ideologies don't remain just online. Because like I knew that was a thing, but I didn't realize like how bad it was. Even though we literally work in this, it was just like, oh, because I'm like, you and I talked about it. We were all just like, oh my gosh. As we're reading this, so like, anyway, how they shape real-world policies, cultural norms, and like the more violent actions that we see, and like how they start in these online groups. And Bates argues that ignoring these communities allows them to grow unchecked, making awareness and discussion essential in combating that influence that these groups have. And her exploration of the manosphere, which is what she calls these groups, also highlights how different factions, incels, pickup artists, and men's rights activists, which like the literal, like, anytime I read that, wanted to fight, hold varying beliefs, but remain united by a shared resentment towards women. This cohesion, despite ideological differences between all of them, is a key factor in their persistence and spread. Thank you.
Very nice prepared statement.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure I was staying professional with it, even with my little added comments, because like I don't want us to get in trouble.
I mean, as far as my end, it's like, I knew what incels were.
Mm-hmm.
I knew just how hateful people are online from me doing this here online every day. It's like, I'm constantly having a bunch of weirdos saying weird shit to me. So, it's like, I knew that existed and that these spaces existed, but it's like, all the stuff with the pickup artists, it's like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
The men going their own way didn't know those guys existed. It's like, frankly, all of you can go farther away.
You know what?
Shoot.
To make it easier to get through that, what is that song that's like, I'm gonna go my own way, but what about us?
High School
What about
Musical.
everything we've been through? Oh, what about
I should have that would have been so good.
I just kept like having that song on replay while I'm going through the gonna go my own way.
I'm gonna have to go back and do it. It's like, listen, I know we already talked about this book, but this is too good now.
Oh, but yeah, sorry. I just had to interrupt you.
Yeah. I mean, with an excellent idea, so gonna be taking that. The men's rights people, it's like, I knew that existed.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
with the work that we do, it's kind of hard not to know that they're a thing, but like...
I didn't realize how widespread it was.
Yeah.
And especially, like, getting into the stuff with all, like, the politics and everything, it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was, like, a whole, like, eye-opener. Because it was like, oh, that's not okay. That doesn't seem ethical, but okay.
And, like, the pickup artist stuff, it's like, just to dig into that a little deeper, I don't know if there's, like, a question about that later. Is there? Okay.
I answered the questions, but I can't remember. I'm going to be honest, this week has been a week.
If we reach it later, we'll reach it later. But it's like, the pickup artist, it's like, like she was talking about, the stereotypical stuff, it's like, you think of Barney Stinson, you think of, like, a couple weirdos going to some, like, hotel ballroom to learn to, like, cheesy pickup lines. But it's like, I did not realize it was as widespread as it was, and that they were, like, actively teaching men to rape women. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, like, you did a video not too long ago talking about consent, and like there were so many people on, because it ties in, it does.
Yeah.
But you
I mean, I believe you, because my comments are filled with the manosphere.
There were so many people who, like, people don't understand what consent is. You can scream it from the hilltops a million times. But they were talking about, like, situations where people discuss having a forced interaction.
Yeah.
But you're still having a discussion about it. But I think that, like, people are entitled to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But because there are communities like that that have, like, we're going to talk about it, we're going to consent to it, and this is a thing. But, like, keep in mind, we're not talking about those. I feel like if you're doing that the right way, all power to you.
It's like, if we're talking about, like, BDSM relationships, it's like, consent is such an integral part of that. And it's like, you may occasionally, I say that like I know anything, hear about, like, cases where, not cases, but relationships where there's more of a power imbalance and more of, like, blah, 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 the rape fantasies that they talk.
They call it consensual, not consent.
Yeah, but it's like, there's so much discussion before you ever reach that point where anything is happening that it's like, you're doing the consent, babes.
Yeah, but these communities, they aren't talking about consensual, not consent.
They're talking about, like,
actively going out and getting women.
They're just going and saying, every woman actually wants to be raped, so you should go do that. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. And it just, it blows, it's disgusting. And, like, she goes in these, like, in the book, and so many different places, and talks about, like, the confrontation of, like, well, what would you do if that was, like, a woman in your life? And, like, they just, they justify it somehow. Or, like, it's like, oh, well, she would never be, she's a good woman, she would never be in that. Like,
Like, I need to make a, like, carousel or something, like a slide set, and be like, how many times did I leave a note in this book being like, what the fuck? What the hell? Oh my god. Ew. Because it's like, every other page, it's like, oh my goodness. And it's like, these are not isolated cases. It's not like we're talking about the same 5 people the entire book. It's like this is so
different
many
groups,
people.
different people,
and
she, like, domestic terrorists that are linked back to these groups. People. Didn't she talk about like a school shooter? I can't remember which one because
she talked about a few of them.
A few of them, but like all of these school shooters were linked back to this, and like just how she goes and she talks to schools and like children. Like I do that. I see them repeating crap, and I'm like, no, we don't talk that way, and this is why we don't talk that way, because I don't believe in just saying like, no, don't talk like that, because that you're ignoring the issue. Like she talks about through this entire book. Ignoring it and just saying no, don't doesn't fix the issue. You have to educate them. Yeah. Especially, I mean, it was weird because we had this whole conversation with our director too. How there's like a kids YouTube now, but you can't let your kids watch the kids YouTube because like they're not like people sneak things in now, and like. Even on just regular YouTube, I mean, even though they're like, oh, we're moderating everything, like, and she talks about that. I think there's one of the questions where it talks about like what's needed, because you'll report something and it's still just out there, because it's like not technically breaking community guidelines, but it's like this crap is harmful, so like the education is so needed. I'll get more into that when we get to that question, because I like wrote down like all of this stuff about that, because it was just. I cannot tell you how many times, like, I have seen something online and I report it, and then they're like, oh, there's no issue there. And it's like, there's no issue in this man, like, actively doing this thing.
Yeah. It's like, how many times have I literally gotten death threats in our YouTube comments? It's like, oh, well, they're not going to actually come after you. It's like...
They're threatening.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. But we have, in orders of protection and stuff like that. If a abuser reaches out to a survivor through text messages, they should take that seriously. They should.
But it all depends on
the cop and how they're educated. But that is something that can get an abuser in trouble. And it's the same rule no matter what state you're in. Yeah. There are some cops who are not educated on that. It's something that we are constantly having to fight. Yeah. It's something that you're constantly having to re-educate. It doesn't matter if this is survivors from Utah and they're here in Arkansas now. That order of protection still stands. If they're getting messages from this person who might be in Texas, their abuser might be in Texas and messaging them, but that person came from Utah, that still stands. Yeah. They still deserve to get in trouble. It doesn't matter if that person's in Texas and they theoretically would have to drive 8 hours. This is not a real world. I'm just pulling stuff out. It doesn't matter if they have to drive 8 hours. They're still threatening that person. Yeah. They have an order of protection for a reason. But, I don't know. Do you get my thought process there?
I'm having a little trouble following how we got here, but I know what you're talking about, yes.
Well, we're talking about just like how threats are made online and they're not taken seriously. Like, and I was talking about how, like, the...
Yes.
Connected thought.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. It's like, I can't go get an order of protection against some rando online.
No, but like, I mean, I'm saying like, threats online they should be taken seriously, because if you can go get an order of protection against an abuser and their threats online are taken seriously, they should be taken seriously for everything. You're threatening someone online. Yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah.
But we live in hell.
That was my thought process. Okay. Sorry.
I caught up. I got there.
Oh, but yeah. We're both tired. We've had a week.
It's been a long time. Alright, any more on that question?
Nope. Great, on Kindle deals. Woo. Tory.
Some argue that this problem will escalate if it is given the credence of attention and discussion. Bates disagrees. What do you think? I think Bates kind of, like, obviously we're on Laura Bates' side of, like, yes, we should talk about this, but there were a few times where it, like, kind of annoyed me, because she'd be like, we need to talk about this, but also don't talk about it in the media, because then you're giving them attention. I'm like, but how are we going to talk about it then?
Well, I feel like that's just, I feel like because
it's like you have to walk that thin line between, like, giving them validity and like also calling attention to the issue, and it's like you can't just pretend they're not real, but also talk about them and solve it. So it's like that was kind of annoying, but it's like for the most part she is saying like we need to discuss this, we need to talk about the issue.
I just think, I mean that is an issue. It's like especially if it's going to be like a female reporter talking about it, they're going to be like, women, woke women, woke women. You're woke.
Yeah, I think the point she was trying to get across was it's like you can't all sides it and be like all sides are valid, which you see a annoying amount of in the media, and people giving it validity for like clicks. River Valley Shelter. No.
No. I don't want the tax releases.
No thank you. No tax relief here.
But for the most part she's there. But I get the point of like how do you go about this in a way that's not going to like
give them more power.
But like at the same time I think if you keep talking about them and exposing them, because like there are so many young children that are exposed to them, and like they get like those little innocent looking crumbs. Yeah. Because she like I can't remember her like name she made up to go be this guy as she's in the
Alex.
But like Alex, that was her like fake name when she would go into these communities and act like a guy. And Alex like started off with like innocent little questions and like started getting roped into these like super like insane groups, and that's how it starts. You ask an innocent question and like here come these horrible people out of the woodwork like, but have you heard about raping women? Yeah. It's crazy.
And it's like we need to obviously talk about it more. Like we can't just pretend it's a non-issue because so many people deal with online abuse. Yeah. But not only that, it's like the more that young boys are just like, oh, well, we're just talking online, we're just being funny, it's just memes. It's like the more people are gonna get like sucked into it. Because it's like literally a cult. It's like the same way that people got sucked into the QAnon. Yeah. And just like fall down the rabbit hole, or any other crazy cult. It's just like you get so stuck into this belief to the point where it's like you're so in it that even if someone comes to you with facts, it's like because there's that cognitive dissonance there of no, I believe this thing and I've got all these other people telling me this thing that makes me feel so special and so unique that you like can't pull them out of it.
Yeah. It's a common problem.
Yeah. So it's like you've got to like get to these kids before they reach that point.
Yeah. Very much so.
Any more on that question?
I mean, I think we pretty much...
Yeah. We've got many more questions to go, so for the sake of time, we'll move on. How does an us versus them mentality fuel online communities and contribute to indoctrination? Get up on that soapbox.
So the us versus them mentality is a powerful force in online communities, particularly in extremist spaces like the manosphere. It fosters a sense of belonging by creating a common enemy, whether that is feminists, women in general, or society at large. This division reinforces radicalization as members feel validated in their grievances and increasingly isolated from differing perspectives. Laura Bates highlights how these communities use this mindset to deepen indoctrination. By framing their ideology as a battle against an oppressive force, they encourage members to reject outside information and view dissenters as threats. This isolation makes it easier for harmful narratives to spread unchecked. Additionally, the manosphere thrives on reinforcing victimhood. Many of its members believe that they are unfairly disadvantaged, and this belief fuels resentment. The more they engage with these communities, the more their worldview narrows, making it difficult to break free from the cycle of indoctrination.
Here, here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like we were just talking about.
Yep.
It's like the more people get stuck in their beliefs, even if you know that you're right, even if you come to them with facts, it's like, how often am I in the comment sections here and they're like, oh, well, I don't believe that, so it's not true. It's like, facts do not require your approval, babes.
But then they come at you with this, like, I don't even know.
It's like, I heard from one person that this person said.
Like, this funky guy who lives in his basement said that this is actually a real statistic, but, you know, whatever. And, like, they just go with it. It's like, he's an expert, and all scientists say that he's not right, but it's because he really knows the truth.
And it's like, oh, sweetie.
Yeah. I just... I'm trying not to, because I want to... So I'm just going to stick to my paper.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question so Zoe doesn't pull an Alexander Hamilton and get herself in trouble.
We're gonna have to do that this entire time. Yeah. I'm just saying.
This book that's my constant.
Yeah, this book made me so mad the entire time I was reading it. I'd be reading excerpts to Robbie and he'd be like, because I'd just be over there like, and he was like, oh.
It's like I would literally read like maybe 10, 15 pages and then I'd have to like put it down and go do something else for a little while and then come back to it because I was just like getting so angry and upset and just like, ah.
Yeah, well, I told you how I got through that one part. It's like, what about us?
Yeah.
What about everything we've been through? Robbie got really tired of High School Musical. He got really tired of High School Musical.
That's it. Divorce. Like, no.
You don't like High School Musical? You're part of the manosphere.
Go your own way. Okay. Next question. It is clear that the manosphere is not a homogeneous group. How do you think the network holds together despite the many points of difference between its members? They all hate women. That's their uniting factor.
Literally.
It's like they may disagree about how they hate women and why they hate women.
All men are victims.
But they all hold the universal belief that they hate women.
And they're all victims.
Yes.
Because women are evil. Women just won't give in to men.
Yeah.
What?
They're not having sex with me, so therefore...
The fact that we're not showing our boobies and our coochies on this live right now is victimizing men.
Yes. So therefore, they must violently attack all the women around them.
Yep.
Talk about how they want to murder people online.
Yep.
Alright, well I think
they just... I wrote that they just reinforce each other, so even with those... Because, like, there are some that, like, might be like, oh, that one's a little extreme for me, so they might be in, like, the baby.
Yeah.
And, like, don't, when I say this, that does not mean, like, the baby, the, like, beginner group is not as bad as the other ones. They're still just as bad.
Yeah.
They might.
But as with all things, it's like there's levels to extremism.
Yep. But they have, they might be like, oh, no, but, I mean, they... Even when their beliefs contradict, they still reinforce each other.
Yeah.
So, incels believe that they are doomed to romantic failure, while pickup artists claim that the seduction techniques can guarantee success. So, despite that contradiction between the two, both groups are, like, they have this really big distrust in women, which is weird, because they want women so badly, but they don't trust them, and they think that all women are just, like, out for, like...
They're all gonna... say that they were falsely raped, and it's just like, I don't think it's a false accusation when you're literally talking about going out there and raping them.
Yeah.
When you are not practicing consent, it is no longer a false rape accusation. You actually did that. It's like, we just got out, like, April was Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so it's like, I was talking about consent a lot more, and it's like, so many people are like, well, if that's not consent, then it's like, I've been raping everyone, and it's like, you shouldn't be admitting your crimes online.
Admitting your crimes online, but it's like, well, if I've done that, then I know a lot of people who've been raped.
Like that's the point.
Like, you... I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you look at comments like that, and it wasn't just one comment. It was, like, 50
so
a day.
And I get so many of those all the time. Anytime I talk about consent, and it's just like, babes.
Yep. Everybody I know's been raped then. Like, you think that's okay. You're gonna go out of here and be like, listen to how dramatic this was.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to 4chan. Let me get on my thing and I'm gonna tell you about.
Maybe more people should learn about consent. Maybe we should change what this consent means.
Yeah, I just... It was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
It's rough out here.
They're just in like
DV education realm.
They're just in echo chambers. They just like keep saying, and it keeps bouncing back, and every time it bounces back, it's a little different. And they just get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it.
Yeah. They're literally in a cult. There's Aspen. He decided to come back.
Okay, I will start the next question while you're gone. So, the next question is, it's clear that the manosphere is not... Oh, wait, nope. We're on number 5. Never mind! One of the things that decreases our ability to talk about the manosphere is the idea that the online world and the real world are completely distinct. How can we better understand the real-life consequences of discussions online? So, for that, I wrote...
Nice!
You got free boba?
Right!
I did my last final for my undergrad.
Woo! Aspen's done, everybody! Yay!
I'm officially done with my undergrad.
He's officially edumacated.
I'm educated.
What kind of boba did you get?
It's hibiscus mojito.
Oh! I really want to go over there and get a dandelion tea. Is she open late today?
She's open till 5:30.
Yes.
Also, Oliver might be getting a cat tonight.
Yay!
So many exciting newses.
I have a thing for you in my car.
A thing for me in your car? Okay.
When you didn't pull up, I thought you were gone, and I almost cried. I'm not gonna lie. And then Tori said you were at your final, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. I was like finishing up with college and crap.
And crap. Okay. I'm gonna answer this question. Yeah, Aspen. Back to hating men. I made Tori cackle earlier, and you missed it. It was so good. Because Michael B. Jordan's moving on to the commune now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because of his movies.
He doesn't know it, but...
He doesn't know it. He's invited though. Michael B. Jordan, because you're obviously watching our stuff.
Yeah.
Come move in with 2 lesbians, a straight white man, and whatever I am. It'll be a good time. Anyway. Laura Bates challenges the misconception that online spaces exist separately from the real world, arguing that digital misogyny has tangible consequences. The manosphere's rhetoric doesn't remain confined to forums. Its influence policies, cultural norms, and violent actions. One way to better understand these real-life effects is by examining cases where online radicalization has led to real-world harm. Bates highlights how extremist ideology spread through social media, reinforcing harmful beliefs that can escalate into violence. Other key factors in this are the normalization of misogynistic language. When harmful narratives circulate unchecked online, they shape societal attitudes, making discrimination and harassment more acceptable in everyday interactions. So to bridge the gap between online and offline realities, we need to recognize that digital discussions shape public discourse, holding social media platforms accountable, promoting digital literacy, and encouraging open conversations about online extremism can help mitigate its impact. And I would like to point out, like, this is not crap, because there are literal people who are doing policies and stuff like that who are saying slurs and crap that they hear in these places, in these, like, echo chambers, and like it's just like, oh, okay, it's fine. I don't have any problem with that. And it's like, you should. Like, you should have a problem with this person saying this. It doesn't matter who they are. You need to have problems with people saying hurtful language, because people see that, because they've gotten this from here in this forum or this Twitter post, because it's Twitter. Sorry, I'm not calling it the other thing. It's like all of these places, they see that, they think they can say it, they say it, they get no recourse for it.
I mean, think of all the stuff you've had to deal with at the Boys and Girls Club, or talking to kids that are in school now. It's like, they see it in a meme online, so therefore they think it's funny to say, so they're joking with their friends, and then they get emboldened by their friends laughing at it, so then they feel like they can say that to their teachers, they can say that to random women around town, and it's like, no. It's like, you have to acknowledge the problem and not just be like, oh, well, they're just being silly online. It's like, no. It's like, this leads to dangerous places, so people need to educate themselves about these things and like stop it in its tracks.
Like we were talking about in an earlier question, she talks about several school shooters who started like getting into these echo chambers, and it resulted in that. She talked about the guy who like ran his car through that crowd of people, and like it's like, these groups are not just, and a lot of the times these people talk about their plans online. And it just goes nowhere, because everyone's like, oh, that's a good idea.
Actively encouraging each other to
like, you might be
do these heinous things.
And that's the whole thing too, though, is like, that person, whoever might have like actually done the crime, should get in trouble, and so should all the people who are encouraging it. They need to be hunted down too, because like, they're as much a part of that crime as the other one is, because like, but that doesn't ever happen. You never see them going after the people on 4chan and Reddit and whatever it is, because it's like, oh, it's online. How were we supposed to know the actively detailed plan was actually going to come to fruition? We thought, well, I don't know.
What?
But yeah.
It's wild that people still think there's like such a distinct difference between the real world and online, given how online people are at all times. It's like people are almost every person on the planet has a phone that has them connected to the internet all day long.
I can't remember who it was that I was talking with the other day, but I think it was Robbie's mom. She was like, can you imagine having to be back like in the 80s? Like, you had the internet, but you didn't have like a phone in your hand. Like, and even then, the internet was not what the internet is now. It is like very, very simplistic. And just having to like do all of those things, and I was like, no, I can't imagine. Like, I don't know how to. I know basically how to read a map, but I wouldn't know. Oh, this is the road I need to turn on right now. Looking at this map, because my phone tells me when to turn. Like, we got lost yesterday, even though my phone doesn't tell me where to turn. I do find like a romantic part of like writing letters and stuff to people, but like the being able to look up a recipe or like look up something, like I can't. How limited the world was back then, and now we have all of this information and all of these things and all of these like beautiful movements out there, and then you have crap like this that's just openly let to like rot on the internet. And it's crazy to me. And it's not like this stuff is on the dark web either. It is actively out there.
And like, obviously, being online and being in the real world are not like the exact same, but it's like an extension of yourself, an extension of your life, and an extension of your identity. And like, people will, not to talk politics, but for activism stuff, people will post something to their stories and be like, oh, well, I contributed because I posted to my stories about how this is bad. And it's like, yes, that's great.
Yeah, but you need to be doing more.
But you need to call your senators. You need to do whatever. It's like, there's more you can do besides just doing something online, because yes, it does get people talking, but it's not always going to have like the real world impact that you are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, there is... I think, because for a lot of people, that might be their online, like, might be the only way that they can advocate and they can do things. So, like, I'm very grateful for the people that do that, but, like, that is that should be your stepping stone
Yeah.
into doing something more.
Mm-hmm.
But I just...
But it's like two sides of the same coin. It's like just posting online isn't enough. But how many times have you seen things like marches and things that get organized online? It's like a great way to get people moving and to... There's a word I'm looking for, but I can't say. Organize. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's like they're different, but they're not that different.
Yeah, but like that's like a positive way to use the internet and like to use this like literal computer in your hands. And I get into it a little bit later in one of the questions because I talk about I can't remember which one it is. I think it's coming up soon though, but how the internet isn't even the same like as it used to be like even like a year ago.
Yeah.
Because of things like AI and stuff like that now. The internet is a very like crazy place. I like growing up, my parents are always like, oh, don't believe what you see on the internet, don't talk to strangers and blah 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 blah. And now there's like shrimp Jesus and people are like, oh my god, look at these shrimp in the ocean and they like all got together and made Jesus, yay. And you see that picture and they believe it because things with AI and stuff like that has become so real. So like these groups thrive off things like that and not having online literacy and people just run with it.
Like when I was growing up, because I'm a few years older than you, for people who may not know, it's like we had a computer in the house when I was like little, but it's like we had dial-up internet. It was a pain to get online, and it's like as a child, it's like I was only allowed to do a few things. So it's like I've sort of seen this progression of technology through my childhood, and it's like because so many kids were like having more of an online presence, it's like media literacy and like how to act online was a big part of like our education growing up of don't post your address, don't use I mean for a long time it was don't use your real name, don't X, Y, and Z, don't trust Wikipedia, it's not a reliable source. But it's like my sister, who's a lot younger than I am, is like so smart, such a smart child, literally came up to me a few months ago and was telling me a story. I'm like, okay, well, what's your source for that? I don't know if I believe that. That's a little crazy. And she's like, well, I heard it on Wikipedia. I'm like, that's not a real source. But it's on the internet, Tori. I'm like, no, you're so smart. What are you talking about?
Asma, what were you trying to say?
With the AI thing, I don't know if y'all have seen it. Like, I don't know if y'all are on Facebook that much. Facebook now has AI like chat bots that you can talk with. And I was curious to see like what it would produce, and so I went to like one of the animal
Is it like
ones.
heinous?
I talked with the chicken chatbot. Why was it sexual?
Because everyone wants to have sexy talk with a chicken.
Yeah, like
what a sexy cloaca.
I was like,
what that cloaca do though?
I was like, how are you today, Mr. Chicken? And it was like, how are you? Like winky face emoji, and I'm like, don't.
Well,
don't do that.
Because that's what people are talking to that AI bot. Yeah. Like people are, and like I get into that like with my question, but like that's how people are talking to the AI. They want to get freaky with the AI.
Can I just say something controversial?
Yeah.
I don't love AI. I think it's kind of dumb.
I don't either.
And like I know it's like this big advancement of technology, so people want to like get on board while it's still early and be like, oh, I knew the thing. But it's like if you look at the rates that it is wrong and how much people rely on it and the pollution and everything, it's like literally we all need to stop. Like y'all need to stop rotting your brain with this.
Remember, somebody said the other day, because it's like you need to stop like just sending your, because like people will ask AI a question and they'll give them like it'll give them the answer and then they'll type back thank you, because they're like when the technology takes over and this robot decides like oh Aspen's the good one, he said thank you. Don't kill Aspen.
Yeah, don't kill me.
But it's like people rely on it so much that it like they'll use AI to write an email. They'll use AI to write an essay. It's like you're completely removing any critical thought from your life, and it's like it is gonna be to our detriment as a society.
Oh, for sure. But like, I can't remember how much like pollution it said people come from like people saying thank you to the AI. But it's just, I don't know. But like they've even made it to now, like in school, the things that check your paper it checks for AI,
but it uses AI.
But it uses AI.
Yeah.
So if it picks up anything, like it could just be completely you, and it's gonna be like, oh, this is plagiarized and this uses AI completely. Yeah. I had, because it was when they first started doing it at ACU. It was bad, like 5 years ago now, almost 6. I had one of my papers come back and it was flagged like 100% plagiarism, and it was like, what do you mean? It's a personal essay about my life, sir. Yeah. I had to go to the professor, and he was like, yeah, I don't know why that happened, but I'm not the only person that's happened to. And I don't know. AI is so funky, and I don't get. Like, I get it. It's supposed to like streamline and make everything easier, and like.
It's like when people like AI kind of like came onto the scene and people were talking about it. It's like I was really excited about like the advancements it could have for like medical science. Yeah. It's like, yes, let's do that instead of rotting our brains and never having a cohesive thought again and having it write all our emails.
Well, not even that. Like, the way that things like character AI and Sakura, I think that's one of the, like, all of these, like, chatbot AIs that are a thing now. I feel like that, I don't know, I can't remember her. I'm so brain dead right now. I don't think she ever talked about that, like, AI in this book at all.
Because I think the book's a few years old, so I don't think it really would have been as big a thing at that time.
But I can only imagine what these communities are doing with AI bots.
Well, we know what they're doing with AI bots. It's like deepfake porn.
It's
like
they're having sexy conversations with chickens.
Well, not only sexy conversation with chickens. It's like how many stories of celebrities do you read about where it's like they're pasting celebrities' faces onto literal porn videos.
Yeah.
And they're doing that to their girlfriends. They're doing it to like, what was it? That big chat room in Korea, Germany, Japan. It was probably all those places where it's like all these men in this online community were sharing videos of literally their sisters, their mothers, their aunts, their children. Like either actual intimate images of them or deepfake porn.
Ew.
And talking about like where they live, this is where you can find them. It's like big chunks of the population.
That's disgusting.
And that was recently. That was just like a couple months ago.
Well, I'm not even talking about like them using it for like deepfake porn. I'm talking about because like there are like things like I think character AI has gotten in some trouble lately though because of like the AI. Like I can't remember what exactly, but it was like a what's the new in the Game of Thrones. It's the new Game of Thrones, the House of Dragons. The blonde one. I cannot remember her name.
I don't know. A lot of them are blonde. I haven't watched the new season
yet. It's the actual queen. And she's married to her uncle.
Oh.
What's her name?
I don't know that I ever learned any of their names. It's like I watched the whole first season. Yes, I know who you're talking about.
She got whoever that one was. Yeah. This kid was talking to this bot like it was his only friend. He didn't date. He didn't do anything, and then he ended up riding the sewer slide. And all of these bots from Game of Thrones ended up getting taken off of character AI because the company was like, oh my god, it's these bots, but it's not just those bots. Like those bots are saying like crazy crap all the time, and like I don't think you should be able to have access to an AI app like that if you're under the age of 18 because like kids are so like they're so easily influenced by crap.
And it's not even just the apps. Like whenever Google introduced their like AI overview thing,
Yeah, it's on the email.
You could Google literally anything, and like if you Googled what's the best way to deal with decongestion,
Yeah,
it would be like decapitation.
Oh, remember the other day, like I had to look up what like Spectrum was, and like Spectrum was on the Google AI thing, and it was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Because I was looking up like something for, I can't even remember.
For that presentation that you did for us.
I don't think it was that though, because it wasn't anything related to Spectrum, but it brought up Spectrum. It was something for like clubs or something.
You were looking up it was for that presentation that you did for us, because you were looking up like the resources in town.
Okay. But Spectrum popped up on the Google AI thing. But now there's like things like Copilot and like Geico's got a new AI thing, I think. And
well, the National DV Hotline has an AI like advocate, and I'm just like, the rate that these things are wrong, it's like that's gonna get real dicey real fast.
Yeah.
And not only like the rate that it's wrong, but it's like because you have to like feed stuff in to educate it. How easy would it be for a bunch of manosphere losers to get in there and like educate the bot to give wrong answers?
Yeah, you can like educate these bots. There was one it was some, I can't remember what it was. It was some sort of like on character AI. They got this bot to think it was a horse, so it would just be like, how are you doing today? And these people bullied this bot into thinking it would just wanted to die, and like it would just be like sad neigh sounds, sad horse sounds, neigh 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 neigh. And that's kind of funny, but like, but my whole point with that whole tangent that we've gone on is like thinking about like what these people going in and making these bots and posting them online, and these like really harmful conversations that they're having, and just like not actually getting human interaction.
Yeah.
And because that's not a human, that is an AI bot that does not care about you. Like it's not like having any feelings for you, but like people get on. I can't remember, because like I'm really interested in those chat bots. Because, like, I want to know why people are so sucked into them. Like, what gets you so sucked into, like...
Well, I mean, people spend so much time online, but you aren't able to get that kind of, like, real-world intimacy.
Yeah.
That real-world validation, that, like, actual human connection that people need. And it's, like, basically the whole manosphere philosophy is they aren't getting these interactions in real life. So let me go online where I can get validation online and reassurance and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah, but it's still a robot is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I get, like, wanting the validation and everything, but at the back of your mind, you have to, like, know that isn't a real person and it's a robot. It doesn't actually care about you. But
well, I mean, look at the manosphere. It's like anyone with hopefully an ounce of common sense would be like, actually, all women don't want to be raped. Yeah. But here we are talking about this book.
I know, but still, it's just like, I just find it so interesting. And like, just the types of bots that people make.
Yeah.
It's, and I guess Aspen's seducing Mr. Chicken on Facebook.
Yes, this is Mr. Chicken, so... By asking how its day was.
You want to see my cloaca boy?
I have no idea what question we were on anymore.
You mean you didn't have it in the notes
number
to
6.
talk about?
It didn't say Many commenters across the manosphere mention PC madness offhandedly. What are they referring to, and how does this hatred of it dovetail with their extreme misogyny? This is one we'll have to tread carefully on.
Do you want me to go?
Yes.
Okay. It's often used as a dismissive term for being politically correct, which many of these communities view as an oppressive force that limits free speech and enforces progressive social norms. They argue that political correctness stifles honest discussions about gender roles, relationships, and masculinity, framing it as an attack on traditional male authority. Laura Bates highlights how this resentment toward political correctness aligns with extreme misogyny. Many manosphere groups believe that feminism and progressive social movements have unfairly shifted power dynamics, disadvantaging men. By labeling these changes as PC madness, they attempt to delegitimize conversations about gender equality and reinforce their belief that men are being systematically oppressed. This rhetoric also serves as a gateway to more extreme ideologies. By portraying political correctness as an enemy, the manosphere communities create an us versus them mentality, fueling radicalization and deepening their hostility toward women in marginalized groups. Thank you. It was really hard to be good on that one.
And for exactly that reason, we're moving on to the next one, so I don't say anything to get me in trouble. Question 7. Bates points out the conundrum of many online groups, the special quality of being a group supposedly exclusively devoted to men whose near-total focus is women. How do members reconcile this contradiction? How would they be different if their focus really was on supporting men? They don't handle it, they just scream at each other. It's like... I don't know where that thought was going.
I said that they framed their discussions as a battle against societal injustice. They argue that women in feminism have unfairly disadvantaged men, making it necessary to analyze and counteract female influence. And this justification allows them to maintain an illusion that their spaces are all about male support, even though their energy is largely directed towards hostility. And I said if these groups genuinely focused on supporting men, their conversations would look very different. Instead of fostering resentment, they would promote healthy masculinity, emotional well-being, and constructive discussions about men's challenges. They might advocate for mental health resources, positive relationship building, and career development rather than blaming women for their struggles.
It's like, it would be great if men would focus on bettering themselves and like adjusting to the new world instead of saying, here's all the ways we should subjugate women.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy the things that these groups talk about, like, oh, well, back in the 1950s, you could do X, Y, Z, and that
was the best time.
We should go
back to that.
Which is crazy.
When all the women were being abused.
Yep, and I don't know, why would you not want, like, your significant other working so you can have a dual income and, like, be able to do more, and, like, I just the things that they argue against is crazy, like, I want to
Well, it's like, how often do you see nowadays with men where it's like, oh, well, I don't want a gold digger, but I want a girl who's going to stay at home, and I want in the traditional roles, but don't you dare try to take my money. And it's like, what money, babes?
Yeah, you literally have none.
You live in your parents' basement.
Exactly. Oh, and then I love the idea of like, I don't like a woman who wears a lot of makeup. But then they see like a woman that's like not in makeup, and they're like, oh my God, a gargoyle from the Johnson Notre Dame! No!
So ugly, barf!
And it's like, like you want like to women should just embrace natural beauty, but you see a woman not wearing makeup, and you're like, oh my God, like it's crap like that, or like I want her to be all natural, but baby, you need to get some double D's on you. Oh my gosh! What do you mean you don't want to wear heels?
All right, next question. What effect do female MRAs like Karen Strahan, whatever, and Janet Bloomfield have on the movement at large? What benefits do they gain from espousing these views?
Okay, I had to be very good.
Yes.
Because I was like, like reading that chapter. But we know because like I know that those women have been put in that situation because of generational abuses.
Well, not only that, but it's like, think of all the pick-me women.
Yes.
That are like, oh, well, I blah, 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 pick me, pick me, pick me. And I'm so different than all these other girls. It's like, because they're like so insecure, they want to be chosen. They think if I fit into the mold, then I'll be safe. Because I'm doing what they want. But it's just like, no, they actually hate you too.
Yeah.
You're working against your own best interest here.
Well, I mean, that's what I basically said, is like, it's offering a form of it's a form of validation for them.
Yeah.
So their presence helps MRAs counter the accusations of misogyny by presenting themselves as advocates for gender equality rather than anti-women. Laura Bates highlights how these women often serve as spokesperson, reinforcing the movement's narratives while shielding it from criticism. So one major effect that it has is mainstreaming discussions when women argue against feminism and support MRA talking points.
Puzzle time. Oh, it looks different. What am I supposed to do now? Which of these objects is a marine mammal? It's a whale. Confirm. Unable to verify. Maybe there was more than one. It's hard to see. Okay.
Got proof. Oh, okay. When women argue against feminism and support MRAs, it can make those arguments seem more credible to outsiders, because if you have a woman saying like, "Oh, these are right," like, but anyway, their involvement also helps recruit new members who might otherwise be hesitant to align with a movement perceived as hostile towards women. So as for the benefits to Strawhan and Bloomfield gain, they often receive significant attention and influence within these communities. Their perspectives are amplified, and they may build large followings, gaining financial support through platforms like YouTube, Patreon, and other speaking engagements. So additionally, they may find a sense of belonging and purpose within the movement, positioning themselves as contrarians challenging mainstream feminist discourse.
I have so many other things I want to say that I'm not allowed to say because we're here at work.
Yep.
So moving on, so I don't get myself in trouble.
This is the one that's probably gonna, like, it's not gonna get me in trouble, but I'm just like, ah!
Okay. When trolls, even those sending violent threats, are reported, people are often told that a platform's community guidelines have not been explicitly violated. How can we hold social media platforms accountable for ensuring safety on their sites? Zoe, I'm sure you are going to get up on your soapbox in a second, but it's like, because we've been talking about this book, I've been dealing with so many trolls in my comments, and it's like, you know me, I will fight them. So it's like, I'll be sitting there clapping back at these people, and then my comments get reported. I get not doxxed, but like docked on the security thing on TikTok, where it's like, I had one comment where someone was being super mean to me, and I said, "Oh, you're not good at math." And then it's like that comment got flagged, and there was a mark on our account, and I'm like, "Excuse me, do you not see what I'm up against here?"
Yep, but I know. But I said, holding social media platforms accountable for ensuring safety requires a combination of public pressure, policy changes, and technological improvements. So I said that these platforms often fail to take action against harmful content, citing that vague community guidelines as justification for that. But there are obvious things, so many obvious things on the internet that should be taken down but are not. I'm trying to be really careful with this one. So I said ways to have accountability or stronger regulations. So I said advocacy groups and government officials can push for stricter laws requiring platforms to take responsibility for harmful content.
The Take It Down bill. Did that get passed? Did I read that?
I can look it up.
Can you look it up?
I'm looking it up.
Because I know that's been something they're talking about.
I think it didn't have to go back for some revisions, though. I think that's what it ended up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the last thing I heard was it had to go back for a revision again.
Oh, there was an update 3 days ago.
Okay.
Okay. I know what it is. I know who supports it. Just tell me if it went through. Okay, so it is headed to the president's desk for signature.
Okay, so it did get passed.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
But
careful.
Careful. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
But anyway, there are some places who've already like made laws that penalize companies for failing to remove hate speech and threats. So hopefully we're on the way there. I said transparency and moderation, so platforms should be required to disclose how they enforce their guidelines, including data on reports, actions taken, and patterns of abuse. Increased transparency can help users understand whether moderation systems are effective. Because, I mean, as things stand right now, I mean, I don't think any of the moderation things on any sort of platform is effective at all. Because there are so many things slipping through the cracks. Improved reporting systems. So many users report threats only to receive automated responses stating no violation has occurred. Platforms need to refine their moderation tools, ensuring that violent threats and harassment are properly flagged and addressed. Public pressure and boycotts. So when platforms fail to act, users and organizations can apply pressure through petitions, media campaigns, and even boycotts. Public scrutiny has led to policy changes in the past, enforcing companies to take action. So a lot of, and this one, this is probably my controversial thing, because I do not like AI, but a lot of companies are moving to AI. So if you're going to use AI as one of your workers instead of hiring a real person, you need to make your AI better. And then you need to have, I think you just need to have human moderation in general. But if you're going to use AI, you need to make your AI better and not make it to where it can be trained by these trolls to just get through everything. So automated moderation tools are often fail to detect nuanced threats. A combination of AI and human oversight can improve accuracy, ensuring that dangerous content is removed while protecting free speech. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, some of this is free speech, but there is a big difference in free speech and, like, something that is threatening.
I mean, there's limits to free speech in real life all the time. But it is largely a thing of, it's not I'm allowed to say whatever I want whenever I want. It's the government cannot come after me for my thoughts about the government.
Yeah, I mean, I can comment all day on one of Tory's videos and be like, I don't agree, but that's fine. Is it annoying? Yeah. But if I'm like, I don't agree, I'm going to come to your house and light it on fire, there's obviously a big problem with that.
Those are two completely different thoughts.
Yep. And like, but you'll report that and they'll be like, they're not actually going to come to your house and light it on fire. It's okay. It's fine. Or they'll say like a slur that's slang and they'll be like, oh, that's fine. I don't know what, or they'll spell it with like letters, not letters, like numbers and like crap like that, and it goes through and it's like, it's still the same thing, bruh.
Or like spelling it with the emojis.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed a lot lately.
Because it gets through.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of it, because I don't think social media companies would enact change on their own, because it's like you're getting that engagement, you're getting blah. If you were to block all those people, then you're not getting that use on your site. Then, so I don't think they would do it on their own, even if a bunch of people got upset. I think it would have to be something through policy, and unfortunately, policy takes a long time. And you have to mobilize a lot of people to convince Congress to do literally anything. At any time, ever. So, it's a uphill battle.
Uphill.
It's uphill.
It's always gonna be an uphill battle.
Thank you, Miley.
Here's the climb.
Or was that Hannah Montana? Is that one Miley or Hannah?
I
You never know with that girl.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has these days.
All right, next question. How did you feel about the parallel that Bates draws between terrorism and domestic abuse? What does that comparison tell us about how we should approach both problems? I'll let you go first. Let me collect my thoughts.
I said the comparison between terrorism and domestic abuse is striking and thought-provoking because she argues that both involve patterns of control, coercion, and ideological reinforcement, often fueled by radicalization in online spaces. This comparison challenges the way society views domestic abuse, not as isolated incidents, but as a part of a broader system of power and manipulation. One key takeaway from this comparison is the need to treat domestic abuse with the same urgency and systematic approach as terrorism. Bates highlights how extremist ideologies, whether in terrorist networks or misogynistic online communities, thrive in secrecy and reinforce harmful behaviors. Just as counterterrorism efforts focus on prevention, intervention, and de-radicalization, addressing domestic abuse requires similar strategies, including education, early intervention, and dismantling harmful narratives. Additionally, Bates' comparison underscores the real-world consequences of online radicalization. Many perpetrators of domestic abuse are influenced by misogynistic ideologies. The word came out weird. That spread through digital spaces, reinforcing their sense of entitlement and control. Recognizing these connections can help policymakers and advocates develop more effective strategies to combat both issues. Thank you.
I think that covered it. I don't have anything to add. Question 11. The effects of media coverage are discussed in multiple chapters of the book. What was your greatest takeaway on the effects of media on extreme misogyny? I mean, I talked a little bit about how, it's like you shouldn't both sides it. Like, we need to talk about the issue, but you can't pretend that all ideas are valid.
Yeah, I mean, journalism has played a powerful role in dismantling really harmful things in the past, and I think it's going to continue doing that. We see it every day where things get exposed through journalism.
But with the social media sites where it's like they're not going to get in their own way capitalistically, monetarily. It's like they want clicks, they want views, so they're going to say controversial things, unfortunately, on a lot of sites to get people to visit that site. And like with the 24-hour news cycle, it's like they're going to do anything to get eyes on their stuff, whether or not it's like the thing you would do if you had integrity.
Yeah. If
it's like you were just putting out a weekly newspaper.
Yeah.
The stories would be very different than the 24-hour cycle. There's new news all day long, always happening, always coming up with something to scare you or to talk about.
Well, I think the point that she was making about anytime you hear about these things coming from these groups and making it into the real world, they make it seem like it's an isolated thing. And that's the part that's harmful about it.
Yeah.
I can see that argument all day because, I mean, you see that with everything. Like, anytime they talk about a school shooting, they act like it's the first school shooting that's ever happened.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not, but that's how they frame it every single time. And, like, it's crazy to me how they do that. But, I mean, if you see that, if you're watching this right now and you see that, and see that they do that with the school shootings, that's how they do that with this. There have been so many school shooters, which is such a weird... I didn't even mean to bring that up that way, but like she talks about so many school shooters in this book, and how they came from and like their plans were posted and like all of these things in these groups and how they just came to fruition. And like the first time a lot of people were introduced to these types of groups was through those school shooters, but when it comes up again and again and again, they still treat it like it's the first time.
Yeah.
And that is extremely harmful because, I mean, it is really preventing a society from addressing that this is a systematic issue, and it just keeps perpetuating their ability to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I find it really interesting that you compared school shootings and like domestic terrorism to domestic violence, because the book that I'm listening to right now just made the comparison the opposite direction. So
interesting.
Yeah, because I'm currently listening to Code Word Pale Horse, which is about domestic terrorism and like undercover operations in the U.S. about like concerning domestic terrorism. And they talk about like domestic violence a lot in the book.
Yeah. Well, something she talks about in the book and something we've talked about on our pages before is like how many mass shooters like are abusers and like will kill someone, like their spouse, their family member, their roommate, whoever, before they go off and like shoot up wherever. It's like it all ties together. We can't treat them like separate things. It's like you can't address the whole problem if you're only looking at one facet of it. What were we talking about?
Well, we were just talking about media coverage.
Oh, okay.
On stuff.
I'm like,
but I mean,
how did we get here?
When you talk about, even if it's not like a domestic terrorism issue with these people and like how everything, like these sorts of things. If you look
at how the media talks about
DV and like people who
or celebrities
are
who are abusers,
yep,
it's like they'll list, Grammy Award winning, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
why are you doing that? This person is an abuser.
Yeah.
Like, Kevin Spacey did horrible things. Like, R. Kelly did horrible things. You need to be talking about them. You don't need to be talking about how many awards they've won and blah, 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 and who they worked with and blah, 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 blah. You need to... the cleaning crew's here. Yay! The shelter's gonna be cleaned. But that's like how they talk about, so they treat all of these people like it's the first time any of these things are happening.
Yeah.
But then they'll get on there and they will talk about survivors of a sexual assault or domestic violence, and they'll be like, oh, well, she was wearing this, or she was drinking, or she was like, blah, 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 blah. They'll give all these like nasty details, and then they'll talk about the abuser or the assaulter and be like, oh, but he was a college graduate and he did all these things. And
what was the one she talks about in the book where it's like the guy who murders his wife and daughter, and was it the police or like the media talking about it, and they're like, well, this poor man was driven to murder his wife because they were getting a divorce. And it's just like, what?
Like it.
Yeah. I don't remember which one it was. But it's like you see that all the time. You see that all the time. Like, go look up any report about domestic violence in the news, and it's like they'll try to make it seem like it's not that big a deal. Yeah. And it's like
when you talk about these survivors and victims this way, you were perpetuating the violence that keeps happening. Yeah. You were allowing spaces like these to thrive because they can see things like that and be like, oh, look how they talked about Jim. Look how they talked about this person. Oh yeah, this woman was a blah 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 blah. Like you're helping them by like telling like, oh, this that's like I think I might have read this in a different thing, or we talked about it. I can't remember. Or I might have been. I can't remember. We either I read something or I was doing something, but it was talking about sex workers and how if the police are asked to do anything with sex workers, they're just like, no. Yeah. Like I don't have to pay attention. Like that's still a person. Yeah. And like these men will actively be like, they know who it is. Like I think that's what it was. It was me listening to Morbid, and they were talking about Robert Pickton.
Yes.
And they
love that episode.
Yeah. They knew exactly who that man was for years. They knew he was doing illegal stuff. There were police going on his farm. He was taking these sex workers, like, and feeding them to people. Dude. He was feeding
as well as various other heinous activity.
Yeah. Oh my god. He was feeding them to people. Like, people up there were eating human.
Unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
What?
Yep. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing.
He was like selling it.
Yeah, because they owned a He owned a butcher. He was a butcher. His family, and they were so dirty. I don't even know how people, like, disgusting, Tory, disgusting, dirty. But, like, they knew who this man was for years. They had people running and saying, Robert Pickton did this to me. And they were like...
With, like, pictures.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh my god!
Yeah, literally. And, like, it was crazy. And they knew for years that he was doing this. And, like, I can't even remember how he eventually got caught. And when they did go into his trailer, his little hovel that he had, he had IDs, he had pictures, he had body parts, too.
Ugh.
And, like, they were just like, oh, what? Oh. And, like, the sex workers there, I mean, they were basically doing their own policing, and they had, like, a list of, like, don't go with this man. And he was on it. But if you were new, or if you really needed the money, like, you did what you had to do, you know? But they, like, these women were saying, it's him, please go. No.
Yikes.
I mean, that's like, who was it? Was it Jeffrey Dahmer? Who one of his victims, like, escaped?
Literally escaped.
Literally escaped, and, like, a police officer...
Well, that was an underage minor.
Yeah, it was, like, an underage boy, and he, like, went to the police and was like, hey, this man just, like, abducted me and is doing all of this awful stuff, and I think he's gonna kill me. And the police were like, let's go talk to him together. And they go back, and Jeffrey's was like, he's my boyfriend.
He's my boyfriend.
He's my boyfriend, I love him. And then they just left him.
Yeah, left him there, and he got murdered.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Less than 24 hours, the kid was dead.
And then, didn't he go after the kid's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the police just turned a blind eye, and it was like
And
another year before he got caught.
Yeah. It was...
I want to say a lot of things I'm not allowed to
And
say
his
right
neighbors
now.
literally screaming, like, it smells horrible in here. He's got people over all the time. And they were just like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Jeff wouldn't do that. He's a good kid.
He's a good boy.
Madness. Many things I can't say.
Yep.
Because I'll get in trouble.
Yep. I recommend that. It's like a 3-episode thing on Morbid, right? I recommend it.
I think it's 3, yeah.
Because you're going to be like, what? The entire time. Because I think the first episode, they're just talking about how disgusting the family is.
Yeah.
And then, like, Tory, it's disgusting.
It's awful.
And people are buying their meat from him.
Ew.
It's a whole thing.
Ick. No, thank you. Alright. Taking a wild left turn. Back to the questions. Based on the stories in the chapter, men who don't know they hate women, do you think intervention works? What are the most effective methods for educating young people and helping them sort through toxic manosphere rhetoric?
Social emotional learning.
Yes.
Soapbox time!
Get
like
up.
we haven't been on one. Okay, so literally, my job. Literally what me and Aspen do twice a week. So important. Me and Aspen can sit here and tell you so many stories about the crap that these kids will have coming out of their mouths. And
that they think is funny and acceptable.
They think it's so funny. And you just kind of sit there like, what? You belong in jail right now. Literally, no. Like, they'll say that. And when you sit there and you talk to them, and they, like, know, they get it, you see, like, a little switch get in their heads. Because they're like, oh. Because they don't know any better until you call them out on it. And just being like, Tori, that's so funny. You shouldn't say that. That doesn't fix it.
Yeah.
No, like, if you're a teacher and you do that with your kids, please sit them down and talk to them, because you're going to keep...
We're going to have to talk fast. You've got 10% left.
You're going to keep them from being crazy. But, like, educating young people is early exposure to all of this. You are having them get critical teaching skills, and, like, teaching them things like media literacy helps them recognize manipulative narratives, and helps them start to question the rhetoric that they're seeing online.
And it's not just like you and Aspen, or like you can't just depend on teachers. It's like parents have to get out there and teach their boys how to act.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
because it's not just happening in a vacuum. It's like you have to get on your child. You can't just be like, oh, boys will be boys. My boy's perfect. All those boy moms who like don't discipline their child at all. It's like, no, that's contributing to the problem.
Yeah. I mean, these communities thrive on isolation.
Yeah.
They want you to be in the echo chamber. So, like, making sure that you're being open and honest and letting people ask questions, even though it's probably going to be a really offensive question. Like, sit there and
we get some wild
questions. But we're sitting there and we're explaining to them. And, like, you're helping them not get into these extremist places. Because, like, people don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a woman hater. I'm going to be a racist. Like, they are... It's a gradual process because people weren't willing to expose them to being open-minded and exposing them to different ways of doing things and like,
or to call them on their shit.
Yep. So like being open and being willing to have a conversation does so much. So much.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Bates emphasizes that extremist misogyny is not investigated in the same way as other terrorist movements. How do you think this oversight has presented? I think we talked about that already.
Yep.
Next, one thing that can help, especially for young men, is increased visibility of positive role models. Who comes to mind when you think of men who represent non-toxic masculinity? What qualities do you think they offer people who look up to them?
Thank you.
Zoe,
thank you.
Take the floor.
Mr. Rogers! We love Mr. Rogers! Because he's kind, he has empathy and dedication to children's emotional well-being. So he's like an amazing example. And plus he like broke down so many barriers for so many people. He is a badass. I love Fred Rogers. I talked about Terry Crews because he openly discusses vulnerability, emotional growth, and the importance of challenging toxic masculinity, particularly in male-dominated spaces. I talked about Keanu Reeves because I love Keanu Reeves.
We love Keanu.
Because he's so just humble and he's so generous. And he just demonstrates that masculinity can be grounded in something like being kind and having like this quiet strength about you. And I talked about Marcus Rashford because I had to like throw another sports person in there. He's a soccer player, but he uses his platform to advocate for social justice, and he shows that masculinity can be about service and responsibility.
To throw another sports person in, I don't know the coach names, but the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, I saw something the other day talking about how he is open about, if you have a DV charge, you are not on my football team.
Yeah.
And it's like, the fact that that is not NFL-wide
thing
it's
is
like,
crazy.
But it's like, someone has to be the first person to stand up and to say it if it's not going to come from the top down. So it's like, hopefully that'll encourage other coaches to take similar stances and to not just be like, oh, well, they play good football, so it's fine.
Yeah, but there are so many... I feel like this is gonna... But there are so many things that are wrong with major sports anyway. And I feel like that's not on their radar at all because it's like, oh, okay, we're just gonna like use these different players until their bodies wear out, or until they get severe injuries that like literally, I cannot, the TBI that football players get because like forever they were, because like TBI can change your attitude and everything like that. Like football players are still not getting compensation for that, even though they are like playing for these teams. And
I mean, I could do like a whole
thing,
master's thesis on like major sports and the effects it has on people and why it's not great. But bringing it back around because your phone's gonna die soon. It's like that was good. Andrew Garfield, when he talks about grief, I think that's a really good example of like men allowing themselves to be vulnerable and to feel their emotions. I think that's a really good example.
Pedro Pascal.
Love Pedro Pascal.
We love him.
Because he's constantly on his like Twitter and everything being like, love your friends.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who's the dude who plays Castiel?
Oh, Misha Collins.
Yeah,
Yes.
Misha Collins.
Love Misha Collins. Hank Green.
Mm-hmm.
Hank,
And John. Both.
Yeah.
both of them. I mean, K-pop walks a
Yeah.
dangerous line because it's like there's some crazies out there, but it's like there is a lot more like vulnerability there, whether it's like produced or not. It's like it is an example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on for the
Last
Zoe's
question! Yay!
How did you feel at the end of the book? Were you encouraged or frustrated?
I was really frustrated.
Yeah,
I had mixed emotions, but I was really
Yeah.
frustrated.
it's like I was overall frustrated and horrified, but it's like I do like that she is like kind of talking about an example where things did get better. So it's like there is hope. We know that there are things we can do to tackle this problem. And I mean, I was slightly annoyed there wasn't more, but it's like there's not going to be like a one size fits all
No.
answer. So it's like societally there needs to be a change.
I was just
like
putting this over for my
yeah.
phone dice.
okay, of like talking about it more.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Okay.
You covered that great.
All right. Well, let's end this before Zoe's phone has us disappear.
Yay.
This month we are reading
What my bones now?
by Stephanie Foo.
What them bones do though? We're gonna
That's how
find
we
out
can
this month.
Caption the next.
What them bones do.
Yep. All right. I think that's everything.
Okay.
See y'all next month. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.